Morning. Just leaving the outskirts of Osby. You can probably see it behind me. Got off the train, down the Ickhead just to get a sandwich for lunch. And now it's the start of day one of this probably 6-day trip. The weather's quite fine. A little overcast, you can see. For the next 3 days it's basically supposed to be like this. And then it's supposed to rain for the next 3 days. So we'll see what happens. I've just gone roughly a round trip of 1.5 kilometres off of the Skåneleden because I went the wrong way. I actually went up straight up that direction, so that's a good 20 minutes or so lost, and I've just got back to this point now. This is the crossing, this is where I went wrong. So I kind of want to demonstrate this to you because sometimes the Skåneleden gods, they're very finicky. This is the path. If you look on the left, you'll see that sign that indicates there's a left here. Now that is very, very easy to miss. The river that you can just kind of see down here through the trees, according to the map, is called Hjälmsjö, and it runs quite a distance. It's quite a long river. Just going through this kind of pathway now, according to the map, we're probably about 2/3 of the way from Osby to where we're going, which is Verum. The pathway right now is through this beautiful, beautiful forest, and it's that kind of soft, nice and bouncy underfoot, so it's really nice to walk on. I'll just slowly pan around so you can get a feel for how beautiful this forest is. Alright, so this is cool. It's the first signpostage of the day. Osby, 16 kilometers away, so that's not to Osby itself, that's to the campsite. So we've done about 14 kilometers or so far, and we've got 6.7 left. So what's that? About 21k. So we've got, yeah, we've done about 2/3 so far. Well, that proved to be epic for all the wrong reasons. When I was sat here, one of the hikers went past. He had a bottle full of water, and I couldn't understand why you would do that if you're so close to Verum and there's water there. So I checked the map and realised that there isn't a water source at Verum. It's supposed to be on the map a 1/2 kilometre from here. So I went down there and it's not there, and where it's supposed to be is basically in the middle of a bunch of undergrowth. So I don't know if you can see, but all of that and all of my legs here and at the back are fighting through the undergrowth. And what I realised is, if there's no water source there, the only water source I actually know of is right back here, which is where I started from, and that's that. So yeah, that added a few extra kilometres to today. So I came all the way back. I've just filled up now, so I've got 2 litres or so in my reservoir, another 1/2 litre or so in the Katedin. The water itself is here, I'll show you. Fairly typical Skåne water actually. That's unfiltered, and you can see the bits inside. They clog up the Katedin filter. So what I'll do at Vittsjö tomorrow is buy some clean water and then just backwash it to clean the filter itself so it can carry on being reused. I believe this is the centre of Verum. They've got the statue behind me. Again, there's so many of these churches that you find as you're going through Sweden. This big house here. The Skåneleden goes down that way. So I've made it to the Lägerplats at Verum. This is it. Up the pathway there is a toilet and a couple of bins. This is the map. So we are here, and then tomorrow there and there, and we've come from somewhere up here. So Osby is 23 kilometers away, and Vittsjö, which is where we're going tomorrow, well, the first stop tomorrow, 11.5. It's a fairly small campsite, honestly. You've got a Liegeplatz here. I'm not staying in there just simply because of the bugs. At the back of it, there's not really space to put a tent. You can see it's all kind of up and down. I think these are molehills, but I'm not 100% sure. But there is a spot. Actually, there's firewood, but I didn't bring my axe or anything. Do I want to get a fire going? Probably not. So it is fairly small, but nicely outfitted. Around here, there's an area here, which is, I think I can get my tent in here. So this tent isn't that hard to pitch. This is a basic pitch. What I'm going to do after this is just do these guidelines and then pull them out. There's two things to remember with this particular tent. Because I had a rodent in there one night, I had to emergency patch inside. So quite often when I pitch it, what happens is it's a little crooked on one side. It's actually not the case this time, which is pretty impressive given how uneven the ground is. The second thing to remember with these tents is that because they're made of DCF, during the sunlight they shrink a little, and then as the sunlight goes down and it gets cooler, they expand, which is the second reason why I put the guidelines on. Because if I don't, what I find is that during the evening this sags inwards, and because I'm about 6 feet 1.8 meters tall, it's not unusual in the morning to have the tent kind of so low that it's actually on my head, which I don't want, obviously. So I'll do the guidelines now, then I'm done. There's a couple of extra things I want to mention. First of all, I've pitched it in this direction because I want my head to be here and my feet to be at the lower end of the slope down here. If I'd have pitched it the other way around, with the door on this side and that side, then I would be sleeping this way and probably rolling downhill during the night, because it is slightly inclined. The second thing I wanted to mention as well is the height of the tent poles, or rather the height of the trekking poles, sets the amount of clearance at the bottom. And if I just kind of show you inside, this is probably the way I'll get in, you'll see that the floor rises up as well. So the height of these trekking poles determines how high this is going to be, and that determines the airflow that you get through. So in an environment like this, where it's quite hot and sticky and muggy, I want as much air flowing through as I can get, which is why I've set it at 129 on my trekking poles, and that will catch as much air as possible. And I've also opened the vents as well. In the winter I'd have it down at 125 or maybe 120, because I want all of this edging as low to the ground as possible to try and minimize the amount of air going through to keep the air inside. Morning. It's about 7:15 in the morning. Had a very good sleep last night, a good 10 hours. Feeling pretty fresh and surprisingly unsore this morning, which is good. I think dropping the pack weight by maybe 7 kilos or so had a lot to do with that. And although I did push myself hard yesterday, 26 kilometers, a lot of it, well, most of it, the majority of it was easy. So a lot of road walks, a lot of walking along forest tracks, a lot like this one, next to meadows, a lot like that. Today then is day 2. This is a chilled, relaxing day. It's 12k to Vittsjö, which I think means White Lake in Swedish. Probably wrong, but hey ho. I want to get there to have lunch, so probably want to get there no earlier than 10 at the absolute earliest, and preferably 11, which means really taking it slow this morning, but also enjoying it, so that gives me a chance to spend a little bit more time taking photographs, taking videos, that kind of thing. So lunch, a resupply, maybe I'll just stop in a coffee house and have a nice coffee as well, and then it's a simple 8k to where I'm sleeping tonight. That's an easy track as well, so probably be there 3 or 4 this afternoon at the latest. I'm not sure exactly what this lake's called. I'll put it in the text below here. Looks like a fantastic place though. There seems to be a lodge of some kind down there, so it might actually be private property, at least that section. I always find these kinds of forests just a little bit eerie. There are a lot of cows laid down, and when cows lie down like that, it means they're expecting rain. I've just found this really nice place next to the river that I just took the footage of. It's got a nice bench, place to sit, it's actually got a public toilet, and it's got a rubbish bin. Excuse me. So if you're ever coming this way, make sure that you make a point of stopping here. It's 5 or 6 kilometers after the campsite at Verum, so it's roughly halfway to Vittsjö. But it is fantastic. I really love this. I'm going to sit down here for 10 or 15 minutes, have a rest, read my book, and then do the second half of the trip to Vittsjö. There is actually a little beach here on the Skåneleden. How awesome is that? Right now I'm just at the kind of north-ish end of Vittsjö. There's a delightful coffee shop in that direction. There's a statue of a dolphin, which I don't quite understand. I think it's a dolphin. And then this fabulous lake. This is the Lägerplats. Slight problem, that doesn't work. So I need to go and find water, otherwise I have a problem. The Vittsjö is here. You can just see my trekking poles in the distance. That's where I'm going to set up a tent. But I just need to figure out the water situation first. I think there's a lake nearby. Morning. It's 5 o'clock. And it's time to get up. Oh. I'm going to leave camp about 5:45, so on track to get as early as possible to the cabin this evening. Check the weather report, and it's saying that the rain should hit somewhere around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is fine. It means I'll only be in the rain for a couple of hours. Going through this forest right now, which is very unkempt by Skåneleden standards. kind of see. But yeah, about a 26-27k day today, and then a shower. That is a lot of sawdust. I don't remember seeing anything like these before. Very close now to the Lägerplats, which is 18-19k from where I stayed last night, so at Hårsjö. Maybe 2 or 3 kilometers away. And most of the last 8 or 9 kilometers has just been forest pathway, so it's been nice and easy. This, what I'm on right now, I'll just stop for a second to show you. It's just a very short 200 or 300 meter patch of this forest. Look at this! I wish, in hindsight, I could have figured out a way of staying here for a night. I mean, it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I've got the cabin booked. But look at this, I am definitely coming back here at some point. So in terms of the whole area, you've got the windward, table, a chair, and this is where I am going to be sitting very soon. I've not stopped all morning apart from having some stretches. I literally haven't taken my pack off my back for the last 4 hours, so I'm looking forward to sitting down for half an hour. Fireplace over here. About 50 meters in that direction, just let me see, just up that path here, there's a toilet, and there is enough wood here to, well, that's gonna fire a 4-bedroom home for the whole of winter. They do have, you know, the wood is for the grill plats is only for the usage of wanderers, hikers of the Skåneleden, and then of course the same thing in English. Although it's all been used apart from one section, so I wonder if they have a saw or anything. But yeah, I'm sorry, I just can't get my head around the fact that there's a chair. This place, I'm definitely coming back here. I'm just gonna, I still got my pack on. Oh, that's nice. And so is that. I just keep finding these incredibly beautiful places around this lake. This has got a table here. You can just sit at the side, table here as well. Fireplace, etc, etc. Oh, it's awesome. Forgive me. I just ate some McDonald's and I liked it. Oh god, that place is packed! It's a bit weird being back in civilization. It's not the first time I've had some really weird looks when I've gone into somewhere civilization. In this case, it's a huge McDonald's just off the major motorway junction. I had people look at me as if, why are you here? So I can get a bit frustrating. Anywho, just realised I forgot to mention something. So when I got my order, I asked the McDonald's employee, can I please have some ketchup? I hadn't seen where the ketchup is located, so I just assumed you got it in sachets. And he looked at me, he went away and he came back and gave me 5 sachets. And I think he realised, okay, this guy's travelling quite a lot, giving some extra sachets because he needs that. So to that McDonald's employee, thank you very, very much for your kind consideration. I'm going to stop talking about this now. So as you can probably see, this road I'm on right now is not designed for pedestrians. I'm going from Örkelljunga up to rejoin the Skåneleden, so I'm heading northward straight out to the town centre. And there's probably 3 or 4 kilometres of this road, so do be aware of this if you ever come this way. I walked past the lady selling this stuff a few minutes ago. Oh, little old dear, really sweet. We had a quick chat about where I was going to. That's that's where the Skåneleden comes across this road. And this is now where I rejoin it after leaving Örkelljunga. But on the map it's a little weird as to which is the right direction, so I'm just going to have to follow the orange brick road. Morning! It's about 10 o'clock on day 4. Left the campsite about 8 o'clock this morning. Actually, I'll put some footage in at this point of the campsite. Great place. Got there about 5 hours earlier than expected, and of course I didn't have the cabin ready. So the owner just said, sit down, we'll have it done in 10 minutes, which is great. So I managed to do the 26 kilometres yesterday by 1 o'clock. So that's when I got there. By 2 o'clock I'd showered, rested, I went into town, had a pizza, got some supplies, chilled out for the rest of the day. It was awesome. This morning the coffee shop in town opened at 8 o'clock, so that's why I left just before 8. Had a big breakfast. I can definitely recommend the latte they have. The place is called Nya Konditoriet, but you don't put cucumber in the bacon and egg sandwich. That's a crime against humanity. Anywho, this morning, so today split into 2 sections. The first I've just completed, I think. You can kind of see part of it here. Is about 7 kilometres, and that's just going north straight out of Örkelljunga to rejoin the SL, which is what I did about 10-15 minutes ago. And now it's roughly 15-16 kilometres to where I'm staying tonight, so probably get there, I'm guessing 2 or 3 this afternoon. Hello. How are you? Please don't lick it. Please don't lick it. Please don't lick it, okay? How you doing? Well, apart from the flies. You having a good day? What's your number? 10984. I'd pet you, but I don't know if I'm allowed to, so I don't do it. You know, considering today's supposed to be rainy, anyway, you folks have a good day. Bye bye. I'm waving. Bye bye. This thing looks even more scary from down here. Look at that. Damn. Originally, I thought that this section now was one that wasn't that hilly, and then the section tomorrow from Koarp to Verum was going to be very hilly, a lot of elevation. Do we go left or do we go right here? And then on this section now, when I started going up and down hills like a fucking mountain goat, I realised that maybe I've got them the wrong way around, and that's the case. I think it's this way. This section now is the hillier of the two, and it's very hilly. If you see that big stone earlier in the footage, you went up a long way to get to the top of that, and then down a long way to get to the other side. But that's good, because that means that tomorrow's section shouldn't be too bad, at least not as hard as this one. And then after that there's only 12 kilometres, which is easy, down to this is the right way, down to Båstad. And that's pretty much all downhill. I've done part of that before, actually, when I did Ängelholm to Båstad last year. So it'll be nice to link up those two hikes and those two kind of tracks of the Skåneleden. So from here, Koarp, which is the next point, but it's not as hard a trail as it was as the section I've just done. That's 17, and then from there, and then Båstad from here is 27.5. If you add about 2 kilometers to that, then you will be at the beach at Båstad, and that's the target to end this hike. So the Lägerplats itself, really small but really super cool. The obligatory, well actually it's not obligatory, but I wish all of them had one of these. Bin, just to kind of, yeah, so where are we now? We are here. We came from over here. So the next steps is Koarp and then Båstad's up here. Last time I actually did, last year, Ängelholm up here, slept there for that night, and then went to Båstad the day afterwards. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty cool. So to Vinwood, fireplace, there's some nice seating. Toilet, I haven't checked it out yet. I mean, that's about the only place to put a tent, which is literally in front of the toilet. Firewood, best of all, and I was praying that this would be here the whole time I was walking up. Drinkable water. Oh, sugar. So the plan now is I'm going to rest for half an hour or an hour, and then I'm going to decide, oh actually I can put my tent down here, and then I'm going to decide whether I want to stay here tonight and then do the 30k to Båstad tomorrow, or do something completely insane, which is do Båstad today, fill up with as much water as I can take, and then do Båstad today. That will put me up at 52 kilometers I think today. I am tired, my feet are sore, but the rest of me feels like it could do it. It's just the soles of my feet that are sore, and but yeah. But I like the idea of just once being able to do a 50 kilometer day. So I'm going to see how I feel after about half an hour of rest and just take it from there. So let's see. So as you can probably guess by the fact that I'm not still at the Lägerplats, I've decided to go for it. So a combination of the weather being actually relatively cool, the humidity is not that high. I don't know where this thunderstorm's gone, but it's certainly not arrived yet. If it does arrive, that will change things. It's now just before 2 o'clock. The last bus from the nearest bus station to the beach leaves at 10 o'clock. So that gives me 8 hours to do something like 30 kilometers. It might be a little less, it might be half a kilometer less, I'm not sure. But that's what I'm estimating. Or to put it a different way, I need to do 4 kilometers an hour for the next 8 hours, which is tough, but not impossible. So my plan is not going to stop. I will take a couple of stretch breaks, and I think in 1 hour, maybe 2, I'm going to stop and get my headphones out. They're buried in the middle of my pack, because I wasn't expecting to have to use electronics today, when I was expecting rain. So that's the deal. Wish me luck. Fingers crossed I can do this. An absolute worst case, if I do this and I miss the bus, then it's only 7 hours until the next bus and the trains start to go again. So absolute worst case, I'm just going to spend a few hours sat sleeping. I'll walk up to Båstad train station and just spend a few hours sleeping there. Not the end of the world, not in this weather. Right, like I said, wish me luck. Just had to stop to, of all things, put some sunscreen on. I'm getting a bit concerned that the sun's getting quite strong and I've got very fair skin. And I can't figure out whether or not to be really happy about that. We're flabbergasted. Really happy because obviously it means that it's not raining, which is good, and long may that continue. But we're flabbergasted that the accuracy of the weather forecasting here is so bad. Yeah, anyway, I don't want to tempt fate, so please keep blue skies, please don't rain, and let me have the opportunity to get this done. Just passed a couple of hikers who said that the rain was expected about 4 or 5 o'clock. Those are the clouds, they're starting to come in now, and it's about 3:30 or so, I think. It's just started to rain, so I'm going to put the good microphone away, get my rain gear on, and then carry on. Time is 20 to 4. So apologies, I'm still using my mobile. Just entering Båstad's commune. This is the spur where you go up to Bramorp. You can just see it there. Koarp is where we came from, so it's been about 3.5 hours to walk 17 kilometers, and that just means 11.5 left to Båstad, so let's call it 2.5 hours, and that is all downhill. The rain has stopped, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have to go through any more undergrowth before I get to Båstad. That's why I'm keeping all my rain gear on, and I'm not using my good camera, I'm just using my phone. Just going right under a major road here, so yeah, 11.5, 12k to get to Båstad now. I'll easily be able to get the bus and the train back to Malmö. Now, looking at the map, it looks like a lot of the rest of the way is just tracks and roads and stuff, with possibly a section at the end where I might have to go through some undergrowth, so I've just taken all my gear off. But also, the sun's come out. I mean, look at it, and look at this kind of view as well, it's beautiful. So the way I'm going is that direction. I just come down this track here. You can see my trekking poles just across the way. Going that way with this sun out, it should be... Oh, my microphone's fallen off. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. So with this sun out, as long as it doesn't rain again, it doesn't look like it will, it should actually dry up pretty quickly. Right, time to crack on. This is the point where the hike I did last year, which is Hjälmsjö to Båstad, joins the hike I'm doing now. So that's the direction that I came down last year. This is the direction I've just come down, and this junction is where they join, and both go this way towards Båstad. Hello. You are beautiful, aren't you? The cows are having a bit of fun. Hey! Hey! What's your name? It's trail snake time! That has to be the longest trail snake in Skåne. The last few kilometers have been really hard. My body's starting to get the shakes because I'm overexerting so much. So I just stopped and grabbed a couple of packs of Belvita. The good news is that I'm only, I think, about 4 kilometers away from the sea. But the even better news is I've just come around the corner and seen this and that in the distance is the sea. So that's the target. About 200 meters away is the sea and the end. And that's the end of the hike. I touched the water in Salisbury. Oh. Touching the water. At Båstad. So that's 53 kilometers today. 121 I think in total for this hike, over whatever it was, 4 days. Today's hike was by far one of the best and at the same time most stupid things I've ever done. Oh good grief, I'm going to be paying for this for days. Sore my feet, but I'm glad I did it, and the fact that I've been having problems even getting past 20k, and with this setup now I was able to hit 50 today. That's not sustainable, I know, but 25 is sustainable, possibly 30 with a bit of more stamina. So I am really proud of myself, I have to say. I'm going to leave you with this shot of what I'm seeing from this pier. Let me just oops, wrong way. Just up again a little bit so you can see better. This is what I'm seeing. I can't express how beautiful it is just to sit here for a few minutes. Let the breeze dry my feet a little bit. Listen to the water. Look at the sun.